Alright guys, welcome back to the next Math Notes. This is going to be the Math Notes 1.1.2, and we're going to be talking about solving quadratic equations today. This is going to be a quick review from last year. You should be pretty comfortable with this since it's really what a lot of last year was about in Integrated 2. We learned to solve quadratic equations in a variety of ways. Two of the common ways that we're going to be talking about in this video are using the zero product property, which is to say that you're going to factor it and then set the factors equal to 0 and solve for x, as well as using the quadratic equation, or the quadratic formula, which is useful when the quadratic can't be factored easily, or when it might not even be possible at all for it to be factored. So we're going to take a look at both of those methods here on the next slide. I have a sample problem here, which is x squared minus 3x minus 10. And we're going to solve that using two methods. So the first method here, we're going to use the zero product property. So we're going to start with our equation there. X squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. I'm going to go ahead and make my rectangle here. We're going to fill in the x squared to our top left square, our negative 10, the bottom right square, and we're going to split up this negative 3 into these two squares. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to do our diamond problem. Remember, at the top of the diamond we have a times c, and on the bottom we have our b term. So if we multiply these two together, we get negative 10x squared, and then on the bottom we have our negative 3x. So we need two terms that are going to multiply to give us negative 10 and add to give us negative 3. And if we think about that for a little while, we're going to figure out that's negative 5x and 2x. So negative 5x times 2x gives us negative 10x squared. Negative 5x plus 2x gives us negative 3x. And then these two fill in the other two corners of our rectangle. So negative 5x and 2x. Then we're going to factor this. We're going to find the edges of the rectangle. So we're going to say x times x gives us x squared. That's going to be our starting point. And we say what times x gives us negative 5? Well, that's negative 5. Negative 5 times x gives negative 5x. And then what times x gives us 2x, so that's going to be plus 2. So this factors into x minus 5 times x plus 2 equals 0. Well, then we use the zero product property, and we set each of these products equal to 0. So I say x minus 5 equals 0, and I solve for x, which is going to be 5. And I say x plus 2 equals 0, which is going to be negative 2. That means my roots are at 5 and negative 2. That's where my parabola is going to cross the x-axis. All right, let's look at another method using the quadratic equation, quadratic formula. We have a little song for that. It says x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And our a, b, and c are going to be the coefficients here. So this is a 1 here. That's our a. Our b is negative 3, and our c is negative 10, just like we had over here when I was talking about a and b and c. We're going to plug those in. I'm going to right now write these off to the side. A equals 1, B equals negative 3, C equals negative 10. And that's what's going to get substituted into my equation there. So B is negative 3. Notice that I'm just substituting negative 3 for the B, and the minus still stays there. Plus or minus B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. So when we do this, negative times negative, that gives us positive. So it's going to be 3 plus or minus. Let's think about what's underneath the square root sign there. So negative 3 squared is 9. This is going to be negative 4 times 1 times negative 10. So that will be positive 40, because negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 10 is positive 40. All over 2. So underneath our radical here, I'll erase that a little bit. Let's erase a little less of that. Underneath our radical, we're going to have 49. So we're going to have 3 plus or minus the square root of 49 over 2. Well, square root of 49 is just 7. It's a perfect square. So we're going to have x equals 3 plus 7 divided by 2, and x equals 3 minus 7 divided by 2. Well, 3 plus 7 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. 3 minus 7 is negative 4, divided by 2 is negative 2. I'll put an x equals here too. So we get 5 and negative 2, which is the same thing we got factoring it the other method. So that's a good check. It lets us know that we did them correctly because both the methods match. Alright, so let's do an example or give you a problem to do on your own here. Let's go with, so we'll call this problem number 1. And I want you to solve this using 2 methods. Both the zero product property and quadratic equation. So our problem is going to be x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Show me both methods, guys. Show me that they both